Hey, I'm gonna tell you what, man. You guys are so damn tough. So damn tough. No quitting this football team. And in 17, I don't know what play that was supposed to be, but you did a hell of a job.
Put the ball down. That was good.
Put the ball down. Hey,
we didn't ride the wave, right?
ho.
Hey, we didn't ride the wave. Stay here, right? Stay chill, stay calm, believe in ourselves and in one another. Victory Monday. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3.
Fantasy Football Happy Hour with Matthew Berry.
Happy Monday. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Happy Hour. That was the Buffalo Bills at the top. Josh Allen just doing whatever Josh Allen needs to do, Jay.
Yeah, every time a coach speaks who's not Dan Campbell, it makes me long for Dan Campbell. Sean McDermott, I'm not getting fired up for Sean McDermott.
He didn't really have a plan there.
No. Josh Allen's better. Josh Allen carries some real gravitas.
Yes.
Also, by the way, Matthew Berry joining us from a hotel room far away.
Looks like a penthouse
City.
to me.
Yeah, it's very high up. We're glad that NBC got you in one of the good rooms, Matthew. But watching yesterday, what it made clear to me is Josh Allen's the best player in football. Fantasy football, real life football. I think that he stands alone.
The biggest needle mover,
yeah.
I would say, if you were looking for one person on a
Yep.
53-man roster. It was a show in the snow yesterday, Matthew.
Yeah, proud fantasy life investor Josh Allen against proud fantasy life investor Joe Burrow. It was a house asunder here in Fantasy Life HQ in terms of who we root for. But Josh Allen, as you pointed out, Jay, is the man. It's his third different game this year with 35 or more fantasy points. Every other quarterback in the NFL have 2. I mean, like it's just so ridiculous. It's his third straight season with 12 or more rushing touchdowns as well. Like he was the number 1 overall pick in every Superflex league. He was the number 1 consensus quarterback, rightfully so. He will be again next year. You know, and what's crazy about it, just to move it forward, right? Because we all know Josh Allen is awesome. We all know Josh Allen's amazing. He's going to lead a lot of fantasy teams to their titles this year. Is that for all of his greatness, I don't know that there's a pass catcher on this team that you really want, right? I mean, like we'll talk about the tight ends here in a second, but, you know, Khalil Shakir, it's Shakir, not Shakur. I know some people get that confused, but Khalil Shakir has an 11% target share in this one. He's under 20 receiving yards in 3 of the last 4. He gets bailed up by a touchdown. But, like you don't feel good about starting him. You don't feel good about Keon Coleman or Gabe Davis or, you know, any of these guys that they're rolling out there. Even the tight ends. The tight ends had a nice game here because it's Cincinnati, and tight ends always have a nice game against Cincinnati. But, like, it feels like if you're starting a Bills tight end, it's obviously Dalton Kincaid, assuming health. But, like, Dawson Knox and Jackson Hawes get involved to an uncomfortable amount for somebody, you know, that has a Dalton Kincaid. So it's just, it's weird. It's weird. Josh Allen stands alone, I feel like.
Yeah, I think the thing with Allen and his greatness is that his ability to create outside of structure, it has ripple effects in the offense where he's not always looking for one guy. He's looking for the guy that is open because he creates so much time for anyone to get open. So I think fantasy, I still think Dalton Kincaid is the surest bet in this offense among the pass catchers. I think he's just the most talented guy, and he seems to have really built the rapport with Allen after a bit of a hiccup last year when he was dealing with injury. But yeah, outside of that, it's roll the dice. I will say one thing, bringing it back to specifically Josh Allen. Josh Allen right now is 15-1 on DraftKings to win MVP. People can talk themselves into Stafford, into Drake May. Right. Josh Allen's the most valuable player in football. He's been the most valuable player in football this year, I think. I think that he's a very good chance to beat Drake May head-to-head this weekend. That game is lined as pick. I think that Allen's MVP price should just be Bills win the division multiplied by the price of the Rams not to win the division, and that gets you to about 11-1, and I think that's what he should be, not 15-1.
Do you think, Jay, fatigue ever plays into this? Where it's like, we know Josh Allen's great. Yeah. He's always great. But we love the historical, in a sense, for him, season Stafford's having, or the rise of Drake May creating excitement.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's
These are human voters.
Yeah, I think that I think that he has to win the division. I think it's very hard to win MVP back-to-back if you're not going to win your own division. The good thing about Allen is that for him winning MVP, his success is correlated with just Drake May exiting the race. Because Allen needs to win the division, and if he does, by definition, Drake May will have lost the division, just won't be a candidate anymore. So I think that Allen needs to win the division. He needs help. Baltimore probably needs to beat New England 2 weeks from now, on top of Buffalo winning. And then you probably need Stafford to lose that Thursday night game in Seattle, which, that's going to be a coin flip.
Josh Allen scheduled the rest of the way. They are at New England. They are at Cleveland, against Philadelphia, and then they finish the season against the Jets. So a tough 3 ahead, but Matthew, it's Josh Allen against anybody. There's no reason to ever doubt him.
It is, and what's weird is it's like MVP. I feel like as Connor, you were talking about, is somewhat narrative based. Like, you can put all the stats if you want, right? And if also, again, like, you take Matthew Stafford out of the Rams and there's a downgrade, but you take Josh Allen out of Buffalo and the team's useless.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, to your point about just who's more valuable, right? And so, but I do think that because Stafford, just because of the way his body is, he's just not going to make, 45-yard runs in the snow, flailing himself into the end zone. Like, there's just kind of like a frenetic energy to Josh Allen that Matthew Stafford, even Drake May, doesn't have, that makes you sort of feel, oh, yeah, that's the MVP. He's laying it all on the line. He's leaving it on the field. And I don't know if that's fair or not, but I think it's a reality. Last thing I want to say about Dalton Kincaid here is just that, just taking it back there, is like, he was great, right? 18.5% target share. He's had 14 or more fantasy points in 3 of the past 4. But, like, he's a part-time player. Like, he's played 35% of the snaps yesterday. He's running 53% of the routes. He needs a touchdown to pay off. He was 4 for 41. And he gets you a touchdown, and given the state of the position, it's tight end 7 as we head into Monday Night Football. But, like, I just don't want people to think, like, back in as, like, a top 5 tight end. Like, he's a part-time player who has got a decent amount of touchdown equity.
On the Bengals side of things in this game, in fantasy at least, Joe Burrow heads into Monday Night Football as QB3 because he throws for 4 touchdowns. Obviously, the interceptions at the end of the game kind of sunk them, but a strong day for Joe Burrow, and in correlation, Jay, a massive day for T. Higgins as well.
Yeah, I think Joe Burrow, if he's healthy, we know exactly what he is. This is an incredibly stable offense when Burrow is healthy, and it looks like he is. He just looks like Joe Burrow to me, and that's a real life top 3 at worst, top 4 quarterback in football, and it manifests itself in fantasy when he has his weapons. T. Higgins is a little concerning that he keeps on hitting his head and has been dealing with the concussion issues the past couple of weeks.
And playing.
Yeah, and playing through it. There was a couple scary moments yesterday with T. Higgins, but when Burrow has Higgins and Chase out there, he is a top 5 fantasy quarterback, clearly, and Higgins is a must-start wide receiver. Obviously, Jamar Chase goes without saying, and then Chase Brown, just his touchdown equity goes up so much when he has Burrow at the controls of the offense, and so he becomes, a legitimate RB1, I think. Even if the efficiency wasn't really there yesterday, he still gets the 3 receptions, gets a receiving touchdown as well as the rushing touchdown. So with Burrow here, it just becomes a very projectable offense, Matthew, with 3 legitimate stars to go with Burrow fantasy-wise.
Yeah, obviously, Jamar Chase is, for him, not a great day, but I'm not really worried about that. Higgins going against a Buffalo Bills defense that coming into this game had been really good at sort of limiting wide receiver 2s, has just a really impressive game. Obviously, there were a couple of amazing catches, some that didn't count, but still 30% target share. He's now scored at least 1 touchdown in 5 of the last 6. And so, Higgins is sort of right there. I'm with you. The concussion stuff makes you a little bit nervous here. But the other thing that's, I think, important about this thing is, like, you're always starting Higgins, you're always starting Jamar Chase, but Chase Brown, like Joe Burrow, honestly, starting with Joe Flacco and now continuing on with Joe Burrow, Chase Brown has suddenly become very, very viable. 18 or more fantasy points in 5 of the last 6. Since week 8, he's the 5th best running back in fantasy football. The one thing I want to caution you against with Chase Brown, again, similar to Kincaid, though, in the 2 games since Samaje Perine returned, he's playing just 62% of the snaps. Like, they like Perine. They like him in 3rd down. They like him in blocking situations. They were using him a little bit in short yardage yesterday as well. Chase Brown is still great. The touchdown was an unbelievable catch that, upon review, they're like, okay, yep, he did get the ball into the end zone. He made a great catch in the corner of the end zone over the pylon. But I think Chase Brown is probably more a mid-tier RB2 than the RB1 he has been with Samaje Perine back. I just sort of want to caution people against that a little bit. But yeah, Burrow is the tide that rises all boats. Again, proud fantasy life investor. And good for him. He's going to continue. He's going to continue to play for the Bengals.
Jonathan Medici, always good to see him weighing in. Man, Barry really is in the penthouse. Let's go.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not in. I'm high up. I wouldn't say I'm in the greatest hotel. I'm high up.
Shots fired.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.